It's never fun to have to come back from a long vacation, especially not one from a country as amazing as Japan, but it's certainly a lot easier to come back home when you know you have a ton of peak fiction waiting on you. For the past 2 weeks on the channel, we've been doing Japan shopping vlogs, going around Osaka's Denden Town and Tokyo's Akihabara, and seeing how they compare to one another, as well as spending way too much money on manga and light novels. So in today's video, we're gonna go over everything that I got in Japan, why I bought it, what I think about the series, etc. We've got everything here from new type magazines and other specials to light novels and manga to some figures, which we might go over. I know my room's an absolute state right now, so please ignore it. Still in the process of unpacking. But yeah, a lot to talk about in today's video. So it's gonna be kind of a long one. I'm gonna put timestamps down below in the description so you can skip ahead to a particular series that you want to see me talk about. I'll probably put timestamps for like the bigger series just so people can skip ahead to those. With that being said, sit back, relax, and I hope y'all enjoy the video. So probably the biggest question that I get asked when it comes to buying light novels in Japanese is, how do you know what to buy and why do you buy what you buy? And I kind of touched on the answer to that in the Tokyo and Osaka videos, but basically the answer is that a series like Hikikomari, which is available in English via Yen Press, I tend to look at what's not available in English and then I try to read ahead. So for example, Hikikomari has, I believe, 5 volumes out now in English, and in Japanese it's on like volume 12 or 13. So in that case, I would buy everything that's not like imminently coming to English. So at the pace that they're at, they're probably still like 2 years away from catching up to the Japanese. So that's far enough in the future where I would feel comfortable buying the Japanese version. I don't like to buy a lot of duplicates of stuff. So like, for example, later in the video, you might see an 86 volume that I already have in English, and that was kind of annoying to pick up. Now, the other obvious answer is, well, to read. So I am now at about N3 in Japanese. So I'm like starting to read light novels and especially slice of life manga. So obviously reading practice and then, you know, just staying on top of the story. I don't like reading fan translations or reading anything digitally. So as much as possible, I try to buy physical stuff if it's available, which of course in this case it is. So these are Hikikomari volumes 10, 9, and 12. Why I didn't get volume 11, don't ask me. They probably weren't available at the Animate where I picked these up from, because I really can't see a reason why I would skip over 11. Hikikomari is one of my favorite shows airing in this season, and it's definitely been one of my favorite shows of the year. Highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. Right now it's got some Yuri undertones going on, but hopefully, you know, we'll go full Yuri at some point. I love the cover art for these as well. They really did a great job with Komari on this. So all right, so another thing that I look for like when I'm buying light novels is like really cute art. So I liked the art on this one when I bought it in Anime. I have no idea what the series is, but I really liked how the girl looked in it, and it was in the new release section, so I picked it up. So in addition to buying series that I'm reading in English, a lot of times I'll just buy stuff because it looks good. And honestly, that's what these companies invest in anyway. Like they make sure that the artists snap on the art to try and get people to pick up stuff in the store, as well as having these really detailed titles. So, you know, it works for me. So Fate Strange Fake is a series that just recently got an OVA by A1 Pictures, and we just got announced that we're having a full anime for it coming soon, so I'm really excited for it. I had to pick this up. I'm a huge Type Moon stan, and it just seems like such a cool twist on the traditional Fate story. Basically, this is like an alternate universe where they're having a Holy Grail war in the United States. Of course, you've got some returning characters like you see Gilgamesh and Enkidu, and from the OVA that we had earlier in the year, I mean, this was really good. So hopefully the light novel is as good as the anime. Iceblade Sorcerer is one of my favorite recent anime. I honestly can't remember if it was from this year or last year. So many things have come out this year, and of course I watch every seasonal. They do kind of blend together, but I really enjoyed it. It might be generic for some people, but you know, generic sells for a reason because it's entertaining. I just really am excited to check this one out. So this was probably one of my most anticipated light novels of the year, this Setsuna spin-off. We recently had the Yohane spin-off, which was really good, and it kind of started off as a meme and went to an anime, and it's now had a video game as well, so it's doing pretty well. The Setsuna light novel, I'm not sure of the sales numbers for it, but Setsuna is my favorite Love Live girl. Nijigaku is my favorite Love Live franchise, so it's a no-brainer that I had to pick this up, and the art looks so good on the cover. I think it's like a fantasy take on Setsuna, kind of like Yohane. I'm not sure if it's an isekai or what, but I am really excited to check this one out. Now here's one of those examples that I was talking about earlier of something that I have in English and I never would have intentionally bought in Japanese. Episode 11, or volume 11 I should say, of 86. I love 86 though. It is my favorite light novel, so I'm not too mad about it. I have a decent amount of the series in Japanese already, so I guess it kind of goes with it. I definitely intended to pick up volume 12 instead of this. Speaking of which, season 2 when? So next up here we've got You-Zitsu volume 8, 9.5, 10, volume 9 as well. I picked all of these up. Actually 10 I got after I got back from Japan. I ordered it from Amazon JP. You-Zitsu's reputation kind of, you know, it goes without saying. It's one of the best light novels of all time. One of my favorite light novels. The anime adaptations don't do it justice at all, so highly recommend checking out the light novels if you're into that. I'm really excited to read volume 10 in particular because people have been posting about this for so long in the subreddit. Well, like for the past few weeks that it's been out, so I'm excited for this. So for the series that I don't really know too much about, I'm gonna kind of go through them quickly. This, I believe there's an English license for this. I can't remember the name of it. Something about like Hiccups. But this actually, I believe, just recently got licensed. So normally I wouldn't have got that had I known that, but I didn't find it out till I got back. But the girl on the cover is really cute. Another cute girl on the cover here. That was an easy cop. Have absolutely no idea what it's about, but you know, hey, she looks cute. Oh, okay. Here we go. So I found 86 volume 12 somewhere among this pile of mess. This was the volume that I intended to pick up, and I'm really excited to read this because we're volume 11 left off. I need more of this series, and hopefully it's not ending soon. I know people have been talking about 86 ending soon, so hopefully we have quite a bit more yet to go. Yumemiru is one that I was kind of on the fence about getting. The anime, it was like the anime is basically, I call it a poor man's Origairu. Literally the opening is basically a parody of the Origairu first opening, which is kind of crazy. I ended up picking this up. They only have volume 7 in stock. The main girl in the series is just really annoying to me, but you know, I figured that maybe the anime didn't get it right, or the anime cut out some details, so maybe I could check out the light novel and find out some more stuff about it. We'll see how this goes. Low expectations, but we'll see. All right, so we've got this cute vampire looking girl. I have absolutely no idea what this is about, but her uniform kind of reminded me of Owari no Seraph, and she kind of gave off a little bit of Shinoa vibes, so not sure what it's about, but I am certainly looking forward to reading this one. You'll notice a trend in this haul, by the way, that I got a lot of series that have really attractive girls on the cover, so yeah, that's one way to get me to buy your book. This is another one. Saw some little thigh action going on there, and I had to pick it up. This is another really cute one. Don't know too much about it, but the art looks really interesting. Now back to something that I actually do know that I bought. The girl that I saved on the train turned out to be my childhood friend, is basically what this one is called. It's got art by Fly, which you'll probably recognize from Tomozaki as well as a couple other light novel series. Probably my favorite illustrator. In terms of the series itself, I honestly have no idea how it has 8 volumes, because if you've read the first few that are available in English, you'll see that the story is kind of repetitive and doesn't really seem to have any type of purpose. The art is really good, and it does have a little bit of a love triangle, which I love, so that's pretty much why I'm still involved in this one. So we've got volume 6 of My Happy Marriage, which was one of my favorite anime of the year, and without a doubt one of the best anime this year. I mean, every single episode, I know it wasn't done by KyoAni, but it still had that same type of like quality and sense of magic and just wonder that you get when you watch a KyoAni anime. Highly recommend everybody check it out. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it already. If you have, you already know the vibes. The little sister in this might be like my most hated anime character of all time, so fair play to the author for being able to write someone that damn hateable in a series with somebody like Mio, who's so lovable. We've got the Bokutachi no Remake light novel. Bokutachi no Remake was, I believe, from 2021, and I feel like it was criminally underrated. If you're a fan of something like real life or a college setting for a rom-com, I highly recommend to check this one out. It also kind of felt like a love letter to creatives as a whole, so if you're a fan of, for example, 16-bit Sensation from this season, I definitely think you'll like this. And I actually think it just finished recently. I'm hoping girl on the right one, because she was best girl from the anime. All right, so I'm gonna try to go through the ones that I don't know too much about the plot pretty quickly. This one looks kind of cute, kind of reminded me of Tatsuya from Mahouka in terms of the art and the color scheme. In fact, now that I look at it, it definitely looks like a carbon copy of that. Not sure what's going on in it, but the girls are really cute and thighs, so Sign me up. We've got this, which looks like some kind of melodramatic high school drama, which you can also sign me up for. Now, I believe this one is actually in English as well. I've definitely seen some people post this girl on my Twitter timeline. I know she's got some massive jugs or something like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one for sure. And it also comes with this cool little trading card. And I guess that brings me to another point. Even though I spent a ton of money on these light novels and manga, close to $1,000 to be exact, but like when you buy things in Japan, I feel like you always get a sense that you've actually spent a lot of money. Whereas if you buy stuff in the US, like at Barnes & Noble, for example, if you buy a ton of light novels, the only thing you get to take home is the novels and the receipts. But as we're going to see later on in the video with some of the bonuses that I picked up, it really did feel like I had earned something for spending all this money. Some more series that I have absolutely no idea what they're about, but the girls on the cover got me to buy them. As you can see, I do have a type. Now that's actually crazy. I had no idea that I had all three of these blondes like right next to each other in the stack, but definitely a type. Now Kimizero, I've talked about this in the fall 2023 what to watch video. This is one of my favorite shows from this season. Really a wholesome, heartwarming story about a girl who's been abused and manipulated by a lot of guys who finally find someone who likes her for her, kind of a nerdy guy, self-insert esque character. Like, no disrespect to Ryuto, but you could definitely see what the author was going for. But it's a really cute story, really cute and wholesome, and I'm enjoying the anime a lot. Another obligatory blonde. And then here we've got Nanatsuma Volume 12. Now, Nanatsuma recently had an anime which finished last season. I personally thought it was awesome, but it seems like a lot of casuals and people who just weren't into the light novel already weren't really feeling it. I feel like Nanatsuma is kind of a difficult story to bring to the anime medium because there is so much world building that you just have to read to fully understand and appreciate everything that's going on in this story. It is some of the best world building, I think, in the fantasy genre, and it definitely plays out a little kind of battle shonen-y as well in terms of all the action and fights in it. So if you like a lot of action, if you like some good world building, if you like Harry Potter, which it is basically a Japanese version of, this is the one to check out for sure. All right, we've got ReZero Volume 35. Not too much that needs to be said about ReZero, one of the best light novel series of all time, and it seems like Tape has a new volume out every week these days. I swear it seems like he didn't do anything on the web novel for like over a year, and then he just came out and was uploading something every week, which in turn led to more light novel volumes. But it's been good to see. There's a lot of good stuff going on in ReZero right now, and anime onlys, I'm telling you, y'all are not ready for the next season. Roshidere Volume 6. Roshidere, of course, just recently got an anime announced for next year, which I am really excited about. I believe Cloverworks are doing it too, so I know it's going to be absolutely crazy. Alia is going to be everywhere on the internet next year for sure. Really cute story, decent amount of fan service. You've got a love triangle going, so it's got everything that I like as well. All right, and rounding out our first stack of light novels is another series that I have absolutely no idea about, but look at this girl's thighs, man. It's nice. All right, so Shokei Shoujo is without a doubt one of the best dark fantasy stories in the light novel medium. I absolutely love this series so much. The world building is crazy. Meno is one of the best female protagonists out there, and there's so many twists and turns going on in this. I cannot wait to read Volume 8. I know it's going to be so fun. You know, a lot of people talk about wanting a fresh take on the isekai genre, and then when you get fresh stuff like Shokei Shoujo, they kind of write it off. Like, the first episode had one of the most unique twists, I think, in a recent anime, and I feel like people just, they didn't appreciate it enough. But this is a really good story, man. I'm excited for it. All right, now you can't go anywhere on the internet these days without seeing Mau, and for very good reason. Apothecary Diaries is absolutely amazing. I mean, there's just so much depth to this story. It is a simple yet very effective story, is the best way that I could describe it. Mau is one of the best female protagonists that you'll see out there, and it's just a really good story. If you like a Chinese setting, or if you like Kokyo no Karasu, Raven of the Inner Palace, you'll definitely like this one. You'll love the relationship between Mau and Jinshi is really cool. It's so playful and bantery. It's just, every episode is a masterpiece, man. I'm excited for a new episode to air actually tomorrow, as of the time of recording this. Chiramune Volume 8. Chiramune, when it comes to the best light novels that don't have an anime adaptation, Chiramune is right up there. The English name is Chitose, is in the Ramune bottle, and I believe in English they're up to Volume 5, so this is Volume 8 of it. Definitely gives me a little bit of Origairu mixed with Tomazaki-kun vibes. The main character in this is so fun. He's kind of a Chad, and I just love his relationship with all the girls. He never gets like too flustered like you see in a lot of rom-com stories with high school boys. series. He just expertly deals with all the girls, and it's such a fun read. Highly recommend checking this out if you're into romantic comedies or if you just want a funny light novel to read. So another series that's airing this season is The Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent Season 2 on Crunchyroll, which I highly recommend checking out. If you like fantasy stories and you don't want a ton of fan service, or you want a female protagonist and you want a romantic setup with 2 adult characters, I definitely think this is one you should check out. Sei and Albert have such a wholesome relationship, and it's a slow burn, but it is a very rewarding burn is how I would characterize it. I actually believe 8 volumes are out in English, so it's catching up to the Japanese quite quickly, and I believe we're entering like kind of the end game of the story, so I'm a little sad for that, but highly recommend checking this out. All right, our last stack of light novels. Or no, we've got one more. Anyway, up first here is Tensura Volume 20. Now, Tensura, I still enjoy reading it, but I feel like the story has become a little bit repetitive at this point, and that's kind of one of the difficulties when you have a story with such an overpowered character as Rimuru. It can be a little difficult to keep things interesting. I still enjoy reading it for the most part, but it's definitely lost a little bit of its edge that it had in the first couple seasons of the anime, which corresponded like to the first 5 or 6 volumes of the light novel. But I am still enjoying it, and the movie just came out recently, which was like okay, pretty mediocre, but it was alright. And the art is so good on these though. It is a really unique art style considering how most light novels look, so shout out to Mitzvah for that. Seiken Volume 13, the Sword Master of Excalibur Academy, airing this season on High Dive. Now this one, I'm not gonna lie, if you're not a fan of generic power fantasy stuff, yeah, you're not gonna like this one. It doesn't really do anything particularly new or innovative, but it is an entertaining story for me to read, and the anime has been like okay. The one downside I would say to this story is that you see these designs of the characters here, they don't really do too much in the way of fan service, which I think is a massive waste when you have girls that look like this in the story. But hey, what can I say? Got this for the plot, of course. Also just found this one. A lot of this stuff I genuinely don't even remember picking up, man. Someone please take my wallet away from me. But the girl on the cover of this is cute. So here we've got Kara no Kyoukai, or the Garden of Sinners. Now if you're a fan of Fate Stay Night, this exists in the same universe, or at least the same multiverse, is part of the Type Moon franchise, and some characters and some things from the Stay Night series are referenced in this, and to this day I still think it's Type Moon's best work, and I believe it's Ufutable's best project as well. It is just such a good story. It's dark, it's gritty, but you know, Ryogi Shiki is one of the best characters of all time, without a doubt. Absolutely love her, and I'm excited to check out the light novels and see how well they adapted this. More plot here. All right, we've got Synduality Ellie, which I believe is a spin-off prequel to Synduality Noir, which aired last season. I think it's been one of the most underrated shows of the year, probably because it aired on Hulu. It's a really good science fiction story with mechs involved, as well as a little post-apocalyptic setting, so highly recommend checking that out if you're into science fiction stuff. The art on this looks really good, and I was a big fan of Ellie from the show too, so I'm excited. Butareba, the story of a man turned into a pig. So I'm glad I talked about this in my fall 2023 what to watch video. I've actually grown to like it a lot more than I even thought I would. The story is a lot deeper, darker, and more complex than I imagined. I thought it was kind of gonna be like Reborn as a vending machine, but nah, it's actually a lot more gritty than that, and there's some genuinely good world building in it. I think a lot of people wrote it off because of the title, as well as the first episode, because the main character is kind of a degenerate reincarnated as a pig. But after that first episode, he becomes a much more normal person, and the story starts picking up, and you see some of the dark things that are going on in there. I highly recommend at least checking out the anime. Also, the light novel I believe is licensed by Yen Press, so you can also read it if you're interested. Maou Gakuin Volume 6. Now we just recently had Volume 2 of Maou Gakuin, which was a production disaster. Aniplex will never be forgiven for their sins, but the second half of the show after it came back from hiatus was actually really good. I think actually much better than the first season. Flashback arc, or whatever you want to call it, was pretty good, so I'm excited to check this out as well. And then finishing up that stack, I've got the sequel to Irregular at Magic High School. And so basically the MC gets tired of being irregular at Magical High School and goes on to become an irregular at a magical company. I actually haven't started reading the sequel series yet, despite having the first few volumes, just because I haven't finished the original series, but I'm really excited to get into this one. I think Mahouka is pretty underrated. It's an extremely popular series in Japan, but like in the West, I think a lot of people write it off as being generic, but it's got one of the most fleshed out and detailed magical systems I think out there, and I actually just really love the characters as well. Now, as you see on the side of this, there's this little blue thing. I picked this up at Anime in Denden Town, and basically it came with a collector's mug, which I believe is downstairs somewhere now. I showed it off in the Osaka video, but I somehow got swindled into paying like $25 for that, which I have absolutely no idea what I'm gonna do with, but it is what it is. Another show that kind of came out of nowhere and surprised me, I think this aired at the very beginning of this year. There's so much anime that's come out this year and everything just kind of blends together for me, but I actually really liked it. The art in the anime was so good, and I like how the main character actually gets a harem of like hundreds of wives. It's basically like Yakukano but in a fantasy world setting, so I'm really excited to read this one. It's also a pretty thick series. All the series are like in this thicker format, so let's hope the world building is pretty good. So here we have a volume of Hanzuki. I'm not sure which part this is. It's got to be part 5, but I don't know which part of part 5. Maybe the second to last volume. Hanzuki actually just recently got renewed for another season by Studio Wit, which I am so excited for, because if you ask any fan of Hanzuki, the last couple seasons, or especially the last season, the adaptation was not good at all. They started cutting out a ton of stuff, and also the production values were not the best. So Studio Wit, who of course are known for Vivi, of course Attack on Titan, and a bunch of other stuff, you know the type of quality that they're going to bring to any adaptation. Of course Vinland Saga as well, can't forget that, but you know the quality that they're going to bring to any adaptation. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Hanzuki. Majo no Tabi Tabi, The Journey of Elena. Now when this aired in 2020, I can't believe it's been over 3 years since this came out. I was instantly taken by just how cool of a story it was. I like the fact that Elena is a morally great character, so she's not some goody two-shoe who goes around getting involved in everyone's business. Instead, she much prefers to be an observer and kind of just let people do their own thing, which if you think about it, if you got transported into a fantasy world, most of us would be like as well. So I think she's one of the more realistic and relatable fantasy characters, and I've heard the story gets pretty crazy in these later volumes, so I'm really excited to read it. And also apparently it comes with a drama CD, so I have to check that out at some point. I've also got Rank Musume, which is airing this season as well, and I also just realized the art by this is done by the same person who does some Fate Grand Order stuff. The art on this is really beautiful, and it comes with a pretty cool bookmark as well. A really cute show that I'm enjoying this season, and I recommend people to check out. And then rounding the light novels off, we've got Mushoku Tensei Volume 24 and Yojo Senki Volume 14. Now I've talked in detail a lot about Mushoku Tensei and defending it, so y'all know how I feel about this series. For some reason they didn't have Volume 26 or 25 anywhere, so I assumed most places were sold out because it's an immensely popular series. And then Yojo Senki Volume 14 is the latest release of this. And speaking of Yojo Senki, I'm pretty sure we got another season announced like 2 years ago, but we haven't seen anything about that. So hopefully 2024 is the year that we get back into Yojo Senki, because this story is so good and that movie was amazing. All right, so with light novels out the way, we got a ton of manga to go over. I'm gonna try to go through this pretty quickly just because this video is getting up there in length, and I know y'all don't want to be sitting here for 2 hours. So we've got Oshinoko Volume 11. Goes without saying, Oshinoko, obviously one of the biggest shows of the year. The impact of Idol by Yoasobi like will be felt for generations. First Japanese song to ever go #1 on the billboards, except in the US, you know, or first anime song at least. So an absolutely insane global impact, and one of my favorite stories out right now. And Kana, of course, being my favorite girl from the series, I had to pick up Volume 11, peak fiction right here. Now we've got Kraken Soldier here. This is actually by the same author as Chain Soldier, as well as Akame ga Kill. I think this is the best story that she's done so far, or he's done, whoever it is. This has much better erotica content than Chain Soldier, which is basically just like ecchi bait. Like they actually go all the way in this one, so I'm really excited to read more of it. I read the first few chapters like when they first dropped back in April and haven't been back since, but it's definitely a dark, gritty story with some really good ecchi content, or erotica content I should say. Munou Na Nana, or Talentless Nana as it's known in English here, one of my favorite manga without a doubt. Absolutely love this story. If you like the anime, you'll absolutely love the manga. It gets so much better in the manga. Things get crazier, much crazier from where the anime ended, so I highly recommend checking it out. Now actually that one light novel that I showed y'all earlier with the white haired girl, I was actually talking about this one. I've definitely seen this on the Twitter timeline before, and the ecchi looks pretty good in this, so I had to pick this one up. Dark Gathering Volume 9. Now actually this girl literally just showed up in last week's episode before I recorded this, so it's pretty cool that I picked up this volume. Dark Gathering I think is one of the best horror anime of all time, and I think it's still criminally underrated. Like not enough people are appreciating that show. I don't know if it's because it's airing on High Dive or if it's just airing during a stacked season, but if you like scary anime, or if you're interested in like Japanese yokai and like spiritual history and spirits and monsters and all that stuff, this is the one to check out for sure. Darwin's Game Volume 28. Now I'm not sure if this is the last volume or not. I know Darwin's Game just recently ended. We really need a season 2 of this because the story gets so crazy. If you thought it was just kind of a generic battle royale. You have no idea. The story just absolutely goes off the chains. I really would love another season of this anime. So I've got Ojoto Bankenkun Volume 8 here. Now, I still, if I remade my fall 2023 list, I would still have Ojoto Bankenkun on it. I love the show personally, but the production values by Project Number 9 really let this down, which is really crazy because I mean, if you look at the art here, like most shoujo, it's really nice to look at. But Project Number 9, I don't know if they put like their intern team or what on this anime, but it looks horrible. Like, it is god awful. But the story, like, it's alright. I'm enjoying it. We've got Fukui Volume 9 here. I'm not sure what chapters are included in this volume, but chapter 66 just recently dropped, and if you know, you know. Absolutely insane chapter. Really excited to try out reading this one in Japanese. So I was talking about Chain Soldier earlier, and speaking of the devil, here it is. So here's the thing about Chain Soldier. I technically only like skimmed through it. Like, even though I'm caught up on it, I have no idea what's going on in the story because I only read it for the H stuff. So I'm actually gonna have to go back through the entire manga and read it for the actual story. So I'm the literal definition of reading something for the plot in this one. But anime is coming in January, so I'm really excited for that one. Like I said, I think Kraken is better, but this is pretty good. Next, we've got Karuhana, which shout out to the person in the Akihabara video, I think it was, in the comment section, who told me the name of this one. It looks so cute. It's a really popular story that I've seen a lot on the manga subreddit as well as in anime Twitter. It kind of seems like an opposites attract type thing. Like, the girl looks kind of, you know, like a cutesy girl, and he looks like he could kind of be like a Yankee type delinquent character just by how he wears his like school jacket there and everything. So I'm excited to read this one. Kanokari Volume 33, I talked about this in the Osaka Denden video, but I just kind of had to pick this one up. Even though I'm still not a Chizuru stan, the last season of Kanokari definitely made her grow on me a lot, and I certainly don't hate her like I used to. And so when you've got art like this, like Reggie knows what he's doing. I mean, this dude is gonna milk this series as long as possible. I have no idea how it's on over 300 chapters. Like, that is insane. 300 weekly chapters of Kanokari is ridiculous, and he's gonna keep going as long as he makes money. It sells like hotcakes in Japan, so you know, fair play to him. Now, I'm not sure what this one is about, but the girl looks really cute in here. Her eyes are so good, and I love just kind of the purple highlights or pink highlights going on there, her nails, everything. I like her style, so I had to pick this one up. We've got Skip to Loafer Volume 9. Skip to Loafer, another one of the best anime of the year, and definitely one of the best romance shows. What I like about Skip to Loafer is that I think it perfectly kind of captures like real relationships that high school kids go through, and like the struggles they go through. Like, the kids in this, like, they do stupid things, right? But just like kids in real life do stupid things, and they learn and grow from it, and it just all feels so real and kind of relatable. Some of the characters are a little too stupid to be relatable, but like, y'all get the drift. Like, you definitely feel like this could happen. These could be plausible situations, and the art is really beautiful on this. So if you're a fan of like kind of realistic relationships and not a lot of fan service and just slower burn stories, this is the one. Now, I consider myself an NTR connoisseur. I know it's not for everybody, but hey, it's for me. I love NTR. Aitsu no Kanojo is one of the best NTR erotica stories out there. Basically about a dude who ends up like cucking his friend. And I know it sounds messed up, but you know, the art's really good in it, and it's a hot story. What can I say? All right, so this one's called Assassin and Cinderella, and the art on this is insane, man. I mean, like, come on. Really, really beautiful. I'm not sure if it's shoujo or not, but it is a really nice looking manga. Even the dude is really nice looking here. So I'm excited to check this one out. Love the aesthetic going on. So we've also got Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence volumes 4 and 5 of the manga. This was from last season. One of my favorite shows of the year, though. It is absolutely, like, it is pure, it's diabetes, the anime. It is the sweetest possible way you can spend 24 minutes. Every moment between Cecilia and Lawrence is just so wholesome and pure. You just can't help but want to see them succeed. And the art of the manga is just absolutely beautiful. Like, I don't know if y'all can really appreciate it from here. I'll try and focus the camera better, but it is just really, really gorgeous art. I actually thought it was like light novel art, because light novel artists tend to have better art since they have like more time to prepare, but I think this is on a weekly basis, and it turns out this beautiful every time. So big up to the mangaka for sure. All right, so this video's gone on pretty long, so we're gonna try and wrap this up. This is the last stack of things here, and I kind of saved some of the best for last. So we're gonna be going over some of the manga that I really am excited to open and read. So first off, we've got Aishiteru Game. This is one of the best stories that hasn't got an anime yet. I have no idea how it hasn't. I would not be surprised to see this happening any month now, it getting announced. It is one of the cutest stories out there for sure. It's one of my favorite ongoing manga. The art is just insane on it. It has has like kind of a realistic vibe to how the main characters interact as well. It's starting to drag on a little bit now in terms of the confession that hasn't come yet, but it's a really good read. I absolutely love this. So we've got Isekai Nesan, and now as I mentioned in, I believe it was the Osaka video, checked everywhere for the light novel version of this and could not find it. So I'm not sure if that's because it's really popular or because they just aren't printing it as much or what. It was one of my favorite shows of the year. I believe it was from spring along with Kamikatsu, and we ate so good that season, man. There was so much good stuff. It sucks that I couldn't find the light novel though, but I'm excited to read the manga. I've got the Aprilia manga. Aprilia, I think, is the best part of Fate. I think that's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I think Aprilia is Fate at its purest. I know the whole lolly thing is not for everybody, but it doesn't bother me at all. The art is amazing. The story, you know, it starts off kind of as a slower, wholesome story, but then it like gets crazy and you remember like, yeah, this is Type Moon, this is Fate. There's some really messed up stuff that goes on in here, especially where the manga is right now with the monthly chapters. So highly recommend checking this one out. Don't let the magical girl stuff turn you off. If you're not usually into that, you won't regret it. We've got Edamai Elf Volume 7 and 8, another one of the sleepers of the year. Edamai Elf was just such a cute and wholesome watch about a girl who's in charge of a shrine in Tokyo, which houses a deity who's actually an elf that comes from another world. There's a lot of cute, just wholesome moments in this, man. You really just need to check it out. It is a very relaxing time and a great way to spend 25 minutes. And actually, I found out that it's actually licensed in English, so I didn't need to buy these particular volumes because I believe they're available in English, and as y'all know, I like to get stuff that's not available in English, but it is what it is. I really love this series, so I don't mind potentially paying for it twice. Speaking of English manga, I don't buy a ton of English manga. My rationale with English manga is that, for one, I don't read much manga, right? Like, I'm a light novel guy, but then when it comes to the pace that English manga come out in, it's so far behind the Japanese and behind the like actual chapters online that it's just like not worth buying it for me. Like, for example, you know, earlier in the video I showed y'all Oshinoko volume 11. Oshinoko in English I think just came out with the 3rd volume, so it's a very long way behind the Japanese, and so there's just no purpose in me picking it up unless you just want to collect it, which some people do, and you know, fair play to them. But for me, I don't buy much English manga, if any. I don't think I've bought any in years actually. 16-Bit Sensation, another one of the underrated gems of the year, particularly of this season. Basically, a girl gets transported back in time to the golden age of visual novel production, so it gives you a lot of insight into how visual novels were made back in the day. Kind of feels like a love letter to otaku culture in general, just like the golden era of Akihabara. You know, I talked about in my video how Akihabara is just not what it used to be, and so basically Konoha, the main character in this, goes back to when it used to be that and helps like a game company make a visual novel. There's a ton of references to a bunch of real world anime and light novels and manga, like there's Fate Grand Order stuff in there and stuff from Madoka because it's owned by Aniplex, I believe, and it definitely feels like promotional material for all of that stuff, but highly recommend checking it out. All right, so then we've got Yushiga Shinda here, another one of the underrated gems of the year. There's a lot of stuff that I've called underrated during this haul, and because, you know, I truly think it is, especially when you have under a 7 on my anime list. This one is a really cool take on the fantasy genre. Basically, the hero in a world ends up dying, and this guy who's obsessed with thighs, who's literally just like me, ends up controlling the dead hero's body, but like he can't utilize the hero's abilities to their fullest because he isn't the hero. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this one, a lot of fan service, but it is actually a really good fantasy story as well. So I picked up volume 5 of this. I thought I got another volume, but maybe not. Really excited to read this one. And then rounding us off here, I think we got another webcomic. I'm pretty sure when they have like this @ comic thing here, that means it's a webcomic. Obvious reasons why this one was copped. So I kind of lied about that one being the last stack. I thought it was, but I promise we're gonna go through this one really quick because this video is getting insanely long. All right, Frieren, goes without saying, this is many people's anime of the year and currently the highest ranked anime of all time according to my anime list. Whether or not that'll stay the case and if Full Metal Alchemist bros will downvote it remains to be seen, but as of right now it is there, and I honestly think that is a very deserved rating. I mean, it is an absolute masterpiece. It definitely feels like Madhouse are back to their prime in terms of putting out content and just, you know, just telling stories, man. Like this, it doesn't even feel like an anime. It feels like you're watching a story, and a beautiful story at that one. Now, I'm gonna probably do a much more in detail video on what makes Frieren so great at some point in the future, so be sure to subscribe so you get that. On another show that's gonna be in running for anime of the year. Absolutely amazing story. I think a lot of people were kind of turned off with some of the fan service, which is an absolute shame because this story is so much more than fan service. It is a genuinely wholesome and heartwarming tale of acceptance, discovery, and growth. Is like the best way that I could frame it as. Really cute and wholesome story. And as you can see, she got such a big buff for the anime. She's not like that in the manga at all, but it is a really cute story, and I highly recommend anyone checking this out if you're a fan of slice of life or just cute girls doing cute things. We've got Hametsu no Okoku, which in my opinion is one of the best shows this season. I know a lot of people think it's kind of an edgelord's dream, and in many ways it is. The main character is really edgy at times. It's got some cool world building. It's a dark fantasy, which I love, and I absolutely love the art in this, so I'm excited to read this one. Idol story. I read the first few chapters of this online and then kind of disappeared for a while, so I was glad that I was able to find this in Japan. I'm really excited to read this one. It's kind of like an idol survivor island type story. It's really good though. I've got Akebi volume 11. I also have volume 12 somewhere around here. I think it's lower in the deck perhaps. Akebi-chan is one of my favorite manga ongoing. The art style is absolutely gorgeous. It honestly feels like the mangaka made the manga just as a way to showcase his art. Like, the story is starting to pick up recently, but it certainly feels like kind of a showcase of his art. Absolutely beautiful. Hoshitele, also from this season. Like, Yuri wise, we're eating really good this season. There's so much good stuff coming out, and this is one of the best without a doubt. The manga art style, I mean, look at that. That's absolutely gorgeous. And the anime art style is also really, really beautiful. Shangri-La Frontier, goes without saying, most of y'all are probably already on this one this season. It's SAO but good. Now, I'm kind of joking because SAO is already good to me, but if you're somebody who didn't like SAO but you like the concept of like the video game world and the full dive setting, I think you'll like Shangri-La Frontier. It doesn't have the same stakes as SAO, so there's no dying in real life and stuff, but it is definitely one of the best fleshed out gaming anime like ever, for sure. So highly recommend checking this one out. It actually came with this little booklet on the side. I think it's got like some art stuff, maybe a side story. I'm not sure. I haven't opened this yet. It made the volume a little more expensive than it should have been, but it is what it is. All right, we've got this. Plot reasons, obviously. Another Yushigashinda, so it seems like I picked up volume 5 and 10. The art on this one is so cool. We've got Ragna Crimson, which is up there with Hametsu no Okoku as my two favorites of the season. I really go back and forth in terms of which I like more between this and Hametsu. Right now, I kind of lean towards Ragna Crimson, but they're both really good. And they also were having a collab with a cafe when I was in Japan. I think I showed it on my Tokyo video, which was really cool to be able to pick up some stuff from there. Another Idol story volume, Hametsu volume 1. The art is way better on this one, and Doroka looks so cute there. I absolutely love Shy. I think it's been one of the best shows of the season. It's a shame that it's kind of been overshadowed. There's just so much stuff airing this season that it's hard for a lot of these lesser known series to really get the attention they deserve. And even in Japan, the manga for Shy doesn't sell that well, but I really like it. A female superhero is a cool concept that we don't see explored that often in manga. While the superhero genre is getting a little more popular in terms of manga, I think Shy manages to be kind of unique and just a fun watch overall. It's definitely one of the best parts of my Monday every week, and I'm sad that we only have a few more episodes to go. Another Ojoto Banken-kun volume. I've got Kaku volume 19. I don't know why I continue to support this series, especially with everything that's going on with Hiro and Nagi. It is one of the most frustrating reads for sure, and I think other people who read this story will feel the same way as me. Like, it's one of those stories, you know where the author wants to go in terms of who she wants to win, but like she tries to kind of spread it out and like give everybody a chance, but you know they really don't have a chance. If you know, you know. And this is definitely what's going on here, but the art is so good. I literally just realized that this was not Temporu but Grand Blue. Wow. I've never read or watched Grand Blue. I'll probably read this volume. I don't have immediate plans to watch the anime, but I literally thought this was Temporu. Temporu and Grand Blue have the same mangaka. They're written by different people, but they have the same mangaka, so I thought this was Temporu. Wow. And then lastly, rounding everything off, we've got My Tiny Senpai. My Tiny Senpai, I have a love-hate relationship with this story. Like, it started off really promising and I was liking it. I had it as one of my best shows of summer 2023, like in the video, and then it kind of died off, and then it started getting good again at the end. So it's kind of an consistent show. It did hook me enough to want to read the manga. The art style is really good on this. The anime actually did not do it justice. I think it was project number 9. It seems like when they adapt stuff that has really good art styles, they don't really cook like that. So I don't know. They got to get some more talent in there. All right, so that's all the light novels and manga. Now we've got some magazines that I picked up in Japan that I'll go over kind of quickly. So we've got this Freerun magazine here. I believe it's got like some illustrations from the anime and whatnot. When I got into anime, I picked this up because, well, Freerun. Now I actually have 2 of these Love Live days from November with Yohane on the cover. I've got this one from Gamers, which came with this little promotional thing here. I also have a clear file, the same exact thing, but in a clear file format. You can see I picked it up twice. I was kind of annoyed about this because these are not really cheap. They're like 12 bucks, but hey, it is what it is. This Oshinoko book, I think it's got some illustrations in here as well. They had a whole big section dedicated to Oshinoko, pretty much in every store. I mean, like I said earlier, its impact, absolutely insane. Look at that art, man. Never gets old. And then lastly, we've got New Type magazine from November, so it actually came out in October with Freerun and Himmel on the cover. Absolutely gorgeous. Looks like some G-Witch and Uma Musume stuff as well. All right, so to end off the video, just briefly, I want to show y'all some of the little promotional things that Animate gave out when I bought things from them. So like I was saying earlier, it really does make you feel like your money is well spent when you spend a lot of money at anime shops in Japan, because they'll always have these little bonuses, like this bonus for Mahou no Tabi Tabi, which I believe is like an extra cover, and then you see it says like Animate up there, Journey of Elena, it's got the author and everything. So that was really cool. Like when I was getting checked out of Animate, they had like, I had to wait for like 20 minutes while the employee basically went like on a goose egg hunt to find all the bonuses that I was entitled to. That was pretty funny. I got this little card for Hikikomari, which looks really beautiful. I think this has the cover of volume 12, thighs. And then it's got like some writing on the inside, which is cool. Now these little cards come with a lot of Dengeki Bunko stuff, like this one with, for some reason it has Toaru on the right, and then that red witch girl that I picked up earlier. This one, another one, this one kind of feels a little cheaper. Feels like they just printed this one out, but got them for these as well. I've got this bookmark for Butareba, which is really, really cute. Jess's art is so beautiful, man. And then on the back, it's got like a QR thing you can scan. Some stuff here. I think this is Yojo Senki. Yeah, it's one of those cards from Yojo Senki here. Kind of like in that other light novel that I showed y'all earlier. Got something from ReZero here with some art on the inside. Celebrate the release of volume 35. Since I've left Japan, they've probably released like 3 more volumes of ReZero now. They come out so quickly. Some more Dengeki Bunko promotional material. Like I said in the video, it was their 30th anniversary, so they're doing a lot of special stuff for that. For some reason, I have like 4 of these. Oh, actually, when we were in Osaka, we saw the Kagejitsu, the material on the 2nd floor, where they had like acrylic stands. And so they had this acrylic stand of Alpha, and I got this card, I guess, for buying. I didn't show it in the video, but I had volume 4 of Kagejitsu that I picked up, which I already have in English, so I was annoyed. Volume 5 is the one that I wanted to pick up, but it is what it is. This is for Hoshitele. It's got Raimon from the anime, who is being really annoying in the anime right now, if you're watching it. Roshidere. Oh, this is really cool. So the Roshidere one is much bigger than the other ones. I wonder if that's because it's selling more or what. Mahou no Tabi Tabi. Whoa, Elena in a like tummy revealing outfit? Tummy Elena? That's crazy. And then we've got these little like brown, they look like alternate book covers from Hikikomari, with like Kamarin when she's like all leveled up and stuff. More Hikikomari stuff there. This is from Synduality Ellie. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with this one. Oh, the art is really good on it. Wow, Ellie looks great there. And I can't remember the blonde girl's name, but she was actually the girl I liked the most in the story. Got some other promotional material here for World's Finest Assassin. And then this girl, I don't know where she's from, but she's really cute. So that's gonna just about do it for this video. We went over a lot of stuff in this one, and it ended up being a lot longer than I intended. If you somehow sat to the end of this video, you're a legend. I appreciate you. And so then lastly, I'll just give y'all a little look at some of the figures that I picked up in Japan. I've got this Hamura one, a Kuro figure, Rem, Ryogishiki there. Or actually, I got these two in Little Tokyo, which we have a video for coming later. This Ilya figure down here. There's a Moon Cancer BB. Another BB figure there. That was one of my grails, actually. This Yohane figure that I picked up, and a Scotty figure. I was gonna do like a more in detail video of it, but this one got a lot longer than I intended. So if you stayed to the end of it, I really appreciate you. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and let me know what y'all think about the series that I picked up, and are you reading any of them?